What is up, my stop? So I'm RigheousRaikou here, discharging a brand new series to this channel, which is going to be called Team Building 101. This is basically a series that I always have to move because I can't hear at both ears if I have the speakers in. This series is basically going to show you the basics of team building, the basics of competitive battling, and progressively this will get more and more advanced, but right now I'll try to go as bare bones as possible, so that way this is going to be try to be as easy at I'll explain it as best as I can, so that way anyone that is new to competitive could possibly try to pick this up quickly, so that way they have a small basis of understanding to try to go out and build out their own teams, to try out competitive, and all sorts of that. The website I'm using is Pokemon Showdown, probably the most, if not one of the most popular sites for team building, for team testing. I highly recommend it. I use it. Tons of other PokeTubers use it. I have just a whole list of different teams. I have a War Gym set, but that's nothing to be concerned with right now. So we're just going to look at my UU team for right now. So to get into more descriptive of just bare bone basics, we have to now explain IVs and EVs. IVs are initial values, which basically means they're given from birth. I have to take these off. I can't even hear. Ugh. My freaking hair's a mess. That's what I get for not having freaking sleep. Oi. But back to the subject here. IVs. It stands for initial values, which is given by birth. The perfect Pokemon has 6 IVs, and then you'll see sometimes when people are asking for like flawless Pokemon, that usually means either 6 IV or 5 IV with 1 stat being zeroed out, which is the negative stat that no one needs. For my Porygon, all my Pokemon have 31 IVs for this set. I'm just saying that right now. So that's the basic definition of IVs. 6 is the best, and then 5 is pretty much what you want. You don't really want to be battling with 4 IVs and under. It's highly unrecommended. I don't recommend it at all. Just make sure you have at least a 5 IV Pokemon. And if you can't breed, then either try to have someone breed you it, or do what I do and invest in a save dongle, which I might be able to link it in the description. But the save dongle, it's only $20, and basically you plug it into your computer. It's basically to boot up save files and whatever, but it's very, very easy to use. Oh, I don't even know what oh yeah, my Pokemon Black is in my game, so I can't, in my IDS, so I can't even show you. But this is obviously the wrong game, but just to show you an example, you plug in the game like so, and then you just insert it into your computer. I mean, there's a little bit of firmware you have to download before you start using it, but it's very easy to use. You also have to know how to use Pokegen. I may make a tutorial video on how to use that at some point, but this is more of just trying to help for competitive wise. So now we're looking at let's look at EVs, because IVs, you can only explain so much about IVs. EVs, there's a lot to explain. EV stands for effort values, which basically means how much effort is put into each. Well, it's hard to explain without saying effort or value in the explanations. How much a stat can go by an increase. 252 is the maximum effect it can, maximum value you can put into a stat. Really, it's 255. But the game works off of a series of numbers. It works by, I think, off by 4s. So every 4 EVs equivalates to 1 stat increase. So basically, like 252 is the best you can do. You can do 255, but it doesn't increase a stat. Like, let's just put this in. So the 374, see, it doesn't make a difference. You might as well just leave it. So we got 252 in. Well, let's just look at our Porygon, for example. My Porygon 2 has 252 in HP, 252 in defense, and 4 in special defense. This is a physical Porygon 2 set. I'm able to take hits with my HP. I'm able to take physical hits, and then I have a little bit left for special defense, so that way I'm not caught off guard completely. The Ball Nature is the preferred set here, so that way you have an increase in defense, and then you don't need your attack, so it's a decrease. It's okay if you have no IVs in attack, because it's not being used, but I have 31 just because, why not? So yeah, 252 is the maximum effort value you can put in to affect the stat. It's very, very important that you make sure you know what you're doing when you do the effort values. So if you do this in-game, you have many, many things to do. This is mainly just me trying to explain things on Pokemon Showdown. Since I don't have a capture card, I can't really show. I'm hopefully getting a capture card within the next month or two. But that also I have to get a new 3DS. I have to get then I have to get the capture card. So that's a good amount of money right there. Not looking so great. But to do this in game, you have 2 options. You can do super training. It's effective, but it's slow. You're looking at roughly, to get 252 into 1 stat, you're looking at an hour's worth of work. The other way to do this is you use stat boosting items such as the medicine like protein, carbos. Protein increases your physical attack. Iron increases your defense. HP up increases your HP. Carbos is speed. Calcium is your special attack. Hold on a second. Oh. I was going to say I could probably just read off a list, but I just forgot that I don't have my Omega Ruby in. So I just messed up myself very bad there. It was calcium, carbos, HP up, protein. You know what? Let's actually even look up the medicines ourselves. So the site I'm using right now is Cerebi, which I highly recommend of using if you want a team build, if you want to just find out any information. It's beautiful. I highly recommend Cerebi.net. So here are the lists of they're called vitamins. It is calcium, which increases your special attack. And here's what to keep in mind. Calcium increases your EVs by 10. So your special attack EV increase is plus 10 for calcium, and then each stat correlates to what it is. Each item correlates with the stat. With the vitamins, though, keep this in mind. You can only use about 10 a stat. That means you can only have 100 stat increase per which one you use. So if I use calcium, I can only use 10 of them. Only the same goes with carbos, HP up, iron, protein, and zinc. That's the one I was missing. I was missing zinc. Zinc increases your special defense. Protein increases your physical attack. Iron increases your physical defense. HP increases your HP up, increases your HP. Kind of self-explanatory. Carbos is speed, and calcium is special attack. Now you may see a couple of other medicine items here. The Clever Wing slightly increases your special defense EVs. These wings, they go up by, I believe, like 1 EV, or like it's like either like 1 or 4. It's a very small amount, so you can use multiples of these, but these are very, very useless items, in my opinion. Rare Candy, if you have a ton of these, definitely use them so that way it's easier to level up once you have all the EVs in. And then you have there's the PP max and PP up. Those are very, very needed for competitive because since all of your moves rely on power points, the higher your power points are, the better. There's some moves really you don't need it, but it's better to have it than not because some people like to stall you out, and it gets bad news bears real quick. So let's go into hold items. Actually, stat items. That's what I'm thinking of. Where am I? Wow. Okay. Bands. Let's look at bands. Oh, come on. Okay. I really did not think this through when I was trying this. Hold items, key items recovery, fossils, and others. Yeah, I'm trying to think. There's these set of items that you basically hold on to for increases, which I don't know why they're not showing up. Battle effects, stat items. What the hell? See, I don't know why these aren't showing up where I want them to show up. Mail, miscellaneous. See, they're not showing up, and I don't know why. Because they're not a key item. They're not decorations. They're not recovery. They're hold items, but I don't know what. Okay. I found some of these. There they are. They're the power items. Sorry for the huge delay on that one. The power anklet increases your speed. Oh, I'm sorry. Increases your speed stat intake for effort values, but it reduces your speed stat in-game. So when you're battling, you'll have a reduced speed stat while you're holding these, but your speed stat EVs you get from Pokemon will go up. The power band, all these bands reduce your speed stat, by the way. That's just one thing I have to mention. All these reduce your speed stat in-game when you're in a battle, but they increase your effort value depending on which band you use. The power band, for example, it increases your special defense intake. Your power belt is increased defense EV intake. The power bracer is the increased attack EV intake. The power lens is special attack, and then the power weight is your HP. Now, they double your EV values that you receive. So let's say you go up against, let's see, a Weeping Bell. And Weeping Bells typically have about 2 EVs of attack. If you hold on to a Power Bracer, now you're at a +4 every time you verse one. So that's just half as much stuff you have to do. There's also the Matcha Brace you can hold, which doubles all EVs and reduces speed. But it's very, very not useful, dealing that some Pokemon you face up against might have multiple EV values, and it's very unreliable because then you have to do more decreasing, and there is stat decreasing, EV decreasing items, but I'll get to that in a moment. The bands are very, very useful. I use them myself. What I do is I grab a Pokemon with Pokerus, infect my whole party with Pokerus, so that way all my Pokemon that I have to train up, now they have Pokerus, and Pokerus, I believe, doubles as well, so it's like you're stacking on top of stacking, so you'll be at your point in no time. It's great. It's a lot faster than if you were to do super training for 2 hours. I hate super training. I used to do it when I started Pokemon X and Y, but then I realized it's just a waste of time. So you have the power bands, or I should say the power items. Oh look, power herbs are actually really nice. So let's go to berries, shall we? Now, there are a couple of berries that affect all of your stats. I just have to go find them because they're all they're all alphabetical here, so I kind of have to I have to kind of just figure this out on my own. This is what, like, Cerebi is good for finding stuff, but it's also bad for trying to find stuff at the last minute. So here are some of the lowering items that will lower your stat if you intake them. And by lower my stat, when it says like lower its base, your base is your effort values. So you can feed that, and it's very good because it also makes your Pokemon more friendly. So even if you don't have extra EVs that you want to get rid of, just feed them these berries towards the stat that you don't want, so that way you don't lose your EVs. And then you will have a friendlier Pokemon in no time, so that way you get that max return boost, or max return damage, and then it's less effort on all parts. So next you have the Hondu Berry. The first one I went over is the Greppa Berry, in case I didn't say it. The Greppa Berry reduces the special defense EV intake. The Hondu Berries decrease the special attack EVs that you have already. The same with the Greppa. Lowers the base attack is the Kelpsea Berry. So use it on nice special attackers to make them more friendly. And it also in case you mess up on your special attackers. What else? What else do we got here? There's more to them. Yeah, there's the Tomato Berry, which lowers your base speed. There's the there should be one for every single one of them. There's speed. All these other berries have all sorts of other effects that it's a lot of stuff to intake. Oh, come on. I freaking hate my computer sometimes. Just random messages. Pomeg Berry is reducing your base HP. You really don't want to be using that. Because HP can make the difference between you taking a hit and you dying. So those are basically what you're going to be dealing with for berry-wise. So you got your EVs, you got your IVs, you now have your items and your methods for leveling up. I can't really tell you what routes to EV train on. You would have to actually look that up. There's I found my stuff off of Smoggin. There's Smoggin EV training horde battles that you'll get like 5 EVs each, or you get like after like power band stuff, you can get like 4 EVs per each Pokemon you faint, which that can add to like 20 per battle. It's amazing. Just slap on an Earthquake, done. And quick note: EXP share transfers all of the EVs to the new EXP share transfers to all. It used to be just the person who held it, but now it's to all because it's the key item. So if you have a really, like, let's just say you have Magikarp of all things, or Phoebus, and you want to EV train those, you can EV train them by keeping them in the back of the party with an EXP share, and then just train them up until they're high enough leveled for them to fight on their own, so that way it goes a little bit faster that way. It's simple enough. Porygon 2, now let's go back to us covering my whole, like, team building set. You want to have 2 walls, a physical sweeper, a special sweeper, a utility, and a support. That's what you want for your team framework. It's the best framework. There's some people that won't have have that good framework, and I've seen many people who don't have good framework, and I tell them, like, you might want to edit this and this and this and this, so that way you have a better chance at winning. Nothing like drinking coffee 24/7. It's very, very key to have a good framework. My framework is as followed. My Porygon 2 is my physical tank. My Cloyster is my physical sweeper. My Nidoking is my special sweeper. My Florges is my special tank. My Fortress is my utility. And my Tentacruel is my support. Now, you can say, it's not always about balancing your weaknesses out too much. That is key, but it's also not that key. You have to worry as much as someone who can take hits more than who's going to get demolished by super effective moves. Because if you want to put by that logic, 2 of my Pokemon get hit by Psychic. But Florges eats up Psychics for days, asks for seconds, asks for thirds, Wish protects, and then asks for more. It's retarded. Florges is amazing. Porygon 2. I have Recover. I can Toxic Stall. Thunderbolt is a good amount of damage, even uninvested. It's a good amount of damage, has a 10% chance to paralyze. You could run Discharge instead. Do not run Zap Cannon. If you feel like a lucky son of a gun, you can run Zap Cannon. But if you don't feel like playing the lottery today, don't run Zap Cannon. Ice Beam, very, very good. Try to get the nice and freeze hacks. Toxic, you can, if someone tries to come out and stall you, you can Toxic them and stall them right back, and you got Recover. So it's a perfect mix of being able to take a shit ton of damage, be able to dish out some, and recover your HP. It's a good method of attacking, defending. It's just a very good, bulky, it's just a huge, great tank. Now, Cloyster, he has many, many, many roles. Some people use him as a tank. A lot of people use him like I do, which is a skill link shell smashing Cloyster. Very, very good to use. I use a Focus Sash on mine. I'll explain all the items that my Pokemon are holding at the end. I'm just trying to really explain the movesets and how everything works with these Pokemon. So Cloyster has Skill Link. Skill Link lets Icicle Sphere and Rock Blast hit 5 times guaranteed every single time. Rock Blast, the problem is you're dealing with that 90 accuracy. So it's very And then Icicle Sphere, it's 100 accuracy, and you get Nice and Stab. And Ice Shard is also Stab, but that's for priority. So the typical way to deal with this set is you Shell Smash first. As soon as you come out, you can either use Cloyster as a lead or not. That's up to you. I preferably use him as a lead because you need that Shell Smash off in order to start doing tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of damage. You Shell Smash first turn. If your enemy does not attack you next turn, go for another Shell Smash. If he still doesn't attack you because he's not smart, you go for one final Shell Smash. You have literally no defense now, but you have max attack, and I mean, you also can run special attack too, but it's not really worth it running a special attack in Cloyster. You can run Hydro Pump and run a mixed Cloyster, but you're kind of sacrificing power at that. It's better to run a physical attacking or a special attacking. Mix is very iffy, because then you don't hit as hard as you could. With this, after you get all your Shell Smashes that you need, whether it's just 1 or 3, it doesn't matter. It's whatever number you need that you have, you're good. Now you can start hitting people with Rock Blast, or you can start hitting with Icicle Sphere. And now if you know someone has low HP and they might have Sucker Punch, you can use Ice Shard to get rid of them. It's a very, very good strategy. I sometimes either use Ice Shard or I'll use Explosion. I will never use both of them. Explosion's very, very interesting because then you'll just set off an explosion and then anything next to you dies. It's great. Next we got Nidoking. He's rocking the Life Orb and Sheer Force. Now to explain Sheer Force. It increases the, let me just bring that up. Increases attacks that have secondary effects by 1.3, but now the attacks don't have secondary effects. This is a very good ability for Nidoking. It makes him ridiculously strong. There's a reason why he's UU and not like RU or NU. It's because of this ability, paired with Life Orb, and all of these moves. Some people can run Stealth Rocks, I don't. Because I have another Stealth Rock user. I just use him for all out, just slamming all opponents into the mat. It's great. I love it. Sheer Force, definitely the best ability to run. Poison Point, never run it. It's stupid. And then Rivalry, there's no point. There's no point at all. Poison Point, there's no point, no pun intended. Sludge Wave does 95 damage, 100% accuracy, And since there is a side effect, it's boosted by Sheer Force. Now, Life Orb. This is where this gets fun. Life Orb is not... You get the Life Orb boost from Sheer Force. Like, Sheer Force, it takes away the side effect of Life Orb, which is taking away 10% of your HP. Now, this is insanely good, because now my whole set is side-affecting moves, or secondary, I should say. All secondary affecting moves, which means they're all boosted by Sheer Force, and they even boosted by Life Orb, but I take no recoil. It's amazing. And then we got Earth Power for stab. These are both stab moves, by the way. This has a 10% chance to drop target speed F by 1, which is really good. And then you, again, boosted, Ice Beam. It's nice and 10% chance to freeze. And then Shadow Ball. Not everyone runs Shadow Ball on this. I was thinking more of, at the time, okay, what can I do to deal with almost every type I come up against? Because this, I can deal with... Some people run Focus Blast. I won't. I don't want to risk it for the biscuit. Because sure, as a Dark type can come in and just kind of wall the crap out of me if there's an Umbreon that comes out. But then I can just come back out to my special wall and just completely dominate Umbreon. It's not that big of a deal. And to go over the EVs, we got 4 in HP, so that way I'm able to take a little bit of hits. 252 in special attacks, so that way I can deal a shit ton of damage. And speed, so that way I'm able to outspeed some common threats. Now, this is... You can build your new king pretty much any way you want. You can even use physical, because physical is actually higher than special attack. But it's very shallow move pool for a physical attack, so I would not recommend it. You can go for it, but I would not recommend it. Florges is my special wall, rocking the leftovers, which heals 1/16 of your health every turn. It's one of the best competitive items. It's rocking Flower Veil, not that good. Both abilities are not that great, so it's not really that important to go over the abilities. Moonblast, it's a obligatory stab. It's the best stab move you can have. If you're dealing with double battles, then use Dazzling Gleam. But if you're dealing with single battles, use Moonblast. Toxic, just a toxic stall out. Wish, so that way you can get, you set up your wish, you take a hit, use Protect, which obviously that's very predictable, but if you want to catch someone off guard, then you either use Toxic or Moonblast, because then they're going to think, oh, you're probably going to Protect next turn, I'm not going to worry about it, I'm going to set up. That's when you start using Toxic or Moonblast, so that you say, haha, sucks to be you. And then the Protect is used so we can get the guaranteed wish or just extra leftovers recovery. To go over the set, we got max HP, so it eats up a lot of hits. When I say max, I mean max EVs as in 252. That's what I mean by max. So we got max in special defense as well, and I'm rocking the Calm Nature, which increases my special defense by even more, and it lowers your physical attack, which is even better. So that way, you're not having really any drawbacks, you're eating up hits for days, and then that special attack is at least enough, so that way you do a little bit of damage. You don't need speed or defense, because you have another physical tank, so you can just keep swapping out. My utility is Fortress, rocking the Bright Powder. I couldn't, at the time, figure out what to use, because he's typically a leftovers user, but I thought, what can I do for him? So I just use Bright Powder, just lowers the opponent's accuracy. Sturdy, which means it's a free focus sash. That's all it is. That's the best way I can describe it. It's a free focus sash, which means no matter what hit I take, if it's a move that's going to knock me out when I have full HP, I have 1 HP left. So now I have Rapid Spin to get rid of any sort of entry hazards that are up. There's Stealth Rocks, which it's very nice to have on the other side, to put up on the other side of the team, so that way they're just getting chip damage all over the place. Volt switch, so I don't have to hard switch out of some cases. So that way, oh, I'm in a bad situation. Let me just volt switch out, and then I would, if it got U-turn, I would say U-turn would be so much better, but it actually doesn't get U-turn. It only gets volt switch, so you kind of have to run volt switch on it. And last but not least is gyro ball, which the slower the user is, the more damage it does. And on gyro ball, that on freaking Fortress, that does a lot of damage. It's stab and it's really slow. Like base 40 speed, that's ridiculous. Like using gyro ball on like a Mega Steelix, that'd probably be like a one-hit KO on anything. It's pretty bad. See, I don't like that I had to put it as calm nature. I'm probably gonna edit that. The main reason, like Smogon's like, oh, it's that so that way you can take up more special hits because it already has enough HP and defense to be able to eat up. There's no point in that. There really isn't. I might change it up because and then speed. There's no point in putting any IVs or any EVs in speed. The point here is to boost Gyro Ball as high as I can. With no IVs or anything, the speed is so piss poor that it can knock out almost any fairy type. Like it's at least a 2-hit KO on every fairy. It's great. That even means like Sylveon and Xerneas. It's a 2-hit KO at least. Even like a Azumarill too, I think. It's amazing. And then Gyro Ball. It's a typical set. And then last but not least, for our support, we got Tentacruel. Rock and Black Sludge, which basically is the equivalent of, it's the poison type equivalent of Leftovers. And the great part about having Black Sludge is someone tries to use Switcheroo on me, they now have to take damage every time they use it. It's great. I have Liquid Ooze for Tentacruel, which means if someone tries to use like Absorb on me, it drains their HP as much as it would have healed the other person. It's actually pretty interesting. Because, oh look, a Giga Drain? Nope. It'll still do damage to me, but it will do as much. So instead of healing half of much damage that I took, they took as half damage that I did. It's pretty great. The moves it's going to use, just to go over the other moves, the abilities it has. This Clear Body, it's not a bad ability. Clear Body is very good. It helps, basically what Clear Body does is that it helps by not lowering any of your stats. So like you can come in on like an Intimidate by all means, but you won't have a decreased attack. That's all I can say. Let's go back to abilities. And the last but not least, the hidden ability, which is Rain Dish. It heals your HP by 1/16 in the rain. And we're not running a rain team, so there's no point. Now to go over the moves, we got Knock Off, which does a base 65 damage, but it's increased by 1.5 damage if the foe holds an item. This is probably one of the most important items to have in a competitive. One of the most important moves to have in competitive. It's great. As soon as it got the boost in X and Y, everyone's been using it. It's amazing. Acid Spray. It does a little bit of damage, not much, but does a base 40 damage, and it has a 100% chance to lower the target's SPDF by 2 stages. That's really important. So when we're talking stages, now stages is how much something is increased or decreased by. And you can have a max of +6 stages. A +6 is the maximum amount of stages. So Swords Dance is a +2. So you can use Swords Dance 3 times before you have maximum attack. And at that point, you're crazily powerful that you're an immediate threat to anything that comes in. So lowering someone's special defense by 2 stages, that's very important. And it can hit. It's very good. That's as far as I can go into it by saying it's good by that mere ability. Scald is it's nice and stab. Almost all these moves are stab, by the way. Knockoff is the only non-stab move. Acid Spray, Scald, and Sludge Bomb are all stab because it's water poison. Scald does 80%, doesn't 80%, does 80 damage, or 80 base power, I should say, with 100% accuracy, and it has a 30% chance to burn the target, which is very, 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 very nice. That 30% chance makes a difference, and plus, you use that on a physical attacker, and he or she, whatever gender, I don't care at this point. What happens is, once they're burned, their attack stat is halved, and it's amazing. Because once it's halved, they're useless at that point. And then last but not least, we have Sludge Bomb, which, I mean, you could also run Sludge Wave. Instead, just like Scald, you could probably run something else to try to get more damage. But the side effects make the difference here. Like Sludge Bomb, you have a 30% chance to poison the target. 30% chance. That's a big, big, big chance. And then for our set details, we have a 224 investment in HP. So it has a good amount of bulk to it. It's got maxed investment in defense, so it's able to eat up some hits. And it's got 32 investment in speed, so that way it can outspeed some minor threats. And that's basically what the whole team looks like. Just explain some items that I didn't explain before, and even abilities. We have Eviolite on Porygon 2. Now with Eviolite, this increases the defense and special defense of and this means by your stat, not your EVs, whatever. No, this is by stats. So your actual stat is increased by 1.5. This is amazing on a Porygon 2, because let's look at this. My defense is 306, and my special defense is 227. Now, I'm going to just go on my phone real quick, and I'm going to run that calculation real quick, because I'm horrible with math. So we're going to do a 306, and keep in mind these are at level 100. Level 50 is going to have a lot different stats. So 306 times 1.5, we're looking at 459 defense stat. That is insane. And then when you want to look at special defense, so 227 times 1.5, you're looking at 340. Or 341, I should say, because it has to be rounded up. But that's insane. That eats up hits for days. It's unforgiving. And then the abilities Porygon can run are Analytic, Download, or Trace. I prefer Trace because I can switch in and trace the opposing Pokemon's ability, which, let's just say I switch in on a Greninja. Now I have Protein, and I can just change up my typing whenever I please. So look, oh, I might want to become an electric type. Oh, I might want to be an ice type. Oh, I might want to just stay a normal type, or I can be a poison type. I can do whatever I want at this point. It's hilarious. Download increases on the switch in, increases attack or special attack by 1 stage based on whichever the foe is weaker in. So if it has a lower defense, you have a raised attack. If it has a lower special defense, you have a raised special attack. And then the last but not least, the hidden ability Analytic, which if the user moves the power of the move that I use increased by 30%. It's a decent ability, but it's not very well used on Porygon 2 because he's not really designed to hit that hard. If you use him on Porygon Z, though, that is scarily good. Like, it's disgustingly good. You can also use all 3 abilities on any Porys. It's great. Just to go over the other possible abilities for Cloyster, which I run Skill Link. The other one is Shell Armor, which means you cannot get critted. That's going to be used if you want to run a defensive Cloyster to take up all the hits you could possibly imagine and more. And then Overcoat can be used if you don't want to get hit by Spore or Sleep Powder. So if you really want to go up against that Vivillon, you can use an Overcoat Cloyster, but not recommended. The other Fortress is Overcoat, no point in that. And everyone else, I went over all the other abilities. So this is basically the first step in our little tutorial on team building. Our next episode, hopefully, I'll go over into actual tiers, like explanation for all the tiers, so that way it's much easier to understand the metagame. And I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. There will be more of these to come. I will hopefully even have some showdown battles eventually. But I don't want to avoid the showdown battles for right now because there's other projects I have to work on. And this is something that is kind of needed to have because there are some people that just don't understand competitive that well. And I want to educate everyone on how to battle properly. Like, through battling competitive, I memorized every single typing, every single weakness, almost every single attack with their effects. It's insane. I've memorized way too much stuff. So I'm trying to, like, put all my knowledge to use. But, wow, endings. GG. But thank you all for watching. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe button. And question of the day, if you do play competitive, what's your favorite tier? Because my personal favorite tier right now is either OU or UU. I don't really like playing NU or RU, but I'll still play it. Because I actually have a lot of teams for those. But thank you all for watching. This is RigheousRaikou here signing out, reminding you guys to keep riding the light.